it's a privilege to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, listening to you, because I was there,
Yeah, good.
everything seems so easy.
Well,
But the Doors is, for me, one of the great bands in the rock and roll history.
thank you.
Not only for me, but it's true.
Thank you.
Have you ever been tired of talking about the Doors?
By the end of the day today, yes. This is my last day talking about the Doors, and I am not going to talk about the Doors for 3 months. That's all. I'm not talking about the Doors anymore. But I'm here to talk about the Doors, so, you know, I tell you what, it's a lot of fun to meet the different people. You know, some older hippies. So we just talked to Paolo something or other, the guy with the long beard.
Paolo
Okay,
Zaccanini.
you know, he's an old man like me, so he was there.
I'm
He's
an old man too. I'm 44.
You're not as old as I am, youngster, young fella. You're not old
I
yet.
grew up with the Doors.
All right, well, good. You're not old until you get to 50. After 50, then you say, hey, you know what? I'm an old man now. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. That's what's great about passing 50. You don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm going to say whatever I want. So I get to meet all the different people and hear the different stories about the Doors and to share psychedelic, you know, with guys who know what psychedelic is in their 40s, guys in their 50s. And then there's the kids in their 20s, some of the young ones, and all they want to know about is the movie. The movie. Tell me about the movie, Ray. What about the movie? I said, you know what the hell psychedelic is? No. Tell me what is psychedelic. God, okay. So you have to explain psychedelic to the kids. So, you know, I mean, I like doing it. I like doing it because I can be subversive again.
Yeah, sure.
I can try my little way, little bit that I can, a few words, to change the society, to change the society of greed and fear that we live in now. In America, America's afraid. There's tension in America that I've never felt before. It's kind of crazy. America's having a nervous breakdown. The people of America, they're afraid. They're afraid of each other, you know. In Texas, you know what happened in Texas? You can now carry a weapon, a gun. You can carry a gun in Texas. Concealed weapon. You can carry a weapon, little shoulder holster, lady in a purse, man in his, maybe in your pocket there, you got a little, you can now carry a gun in Texas.
Like in the old Western movies.
Wild West. Exactly. It hasn't happened.
I saw a John Wayne movie two evenings ago.
Man.
I was thinking about the guns, watching this movie, because it's strange. You know, in Europe, it was different, completely different.
Yeah.
In the same period.
Yeah.
And in the States, the people was going everywhere with guns.
Yeah.
So do you think it's important for a musician to say something about this situation?
Well, sure. Who else is going to say something about it? It's up to the artist to talk in terms of peace and love. You know, politicians aren't going to talk about love. You know, politicians in America are going to talk about strength. And we have to have more B-2 bombers, the stealth, that black bomber. 2 for $1 billion. $1 billion. Not a million, but a billion. B-I-L-L-I-O-N. You get 2 bombers. Well, you could take $1 billion and put it into South Central Los Angeles where nobody has any jobs. You could change the whole economy.
Yeah, sure.
Instead, we're going to build 2 fucking bombers. Who are we going to bomb? You know, what are we going to do? We're going to bomb Russia? We have no enemy. There are no enemies. There are only these little enemies, little wars in Bosnia kind of stuff going on. We don't need the military might, and yet America is still trying to make military might. Weapons, I mean, legal handguns. There are 250 million people in America, and there are 200 million weapons. You know, everybody's got a gun. What are you going to do with a fucking gun? Kill somebody.
Sure. If you buy a gun, you are
a little handgun. What is a handgun for? A handgun is for one person to shoot another person. That's all it's for. You know, if you're going to go do target practice, fine. Go rent a gun and do target practice. But handguns are for killing other
I don't know.
human
There's
beings.
a movement in the States against the guns.
Well, yeah, sure.
After the John Lennon
Yeah.
death in 1980.
Well, now there's a movement back the other way to let people have the guns again. It's crazy.
This is the reason why you decided to put out the second version of American Prayer.
Well, that
Because the meaning of the poems, of the lyrics,
Well, it's got to do a prayer for America. Save, good Lord, save our country, please. Save the land of the free and the home of the brave, and don't let it become a paranoia sweeping America. But even more than that, it's for the young people. It's for the people who love music, people who love art, poetry, and the young people of America who probably have never heard an American prayer, don't have the vinyl disc. Mm-hmm. Now it's available finally on CD. It's got some new things on it for the old guys, and the whole album is new for the young people. And America, the young people of America are into coffee houses, poetry, spoken word. Beatniks, again, has finally become big in America. So we've thought this is the perfect time. Let's release it now so that they can understand spoken word again.
There's a tradition in England and in the States about the readings of poems. It's something completely different from Europe.
Yeah. I'm surprised. European poets. There's no Italian poets. My God, it's a great tradition of poetry here. Jesus Christ.
But the good thing is going to see a poet who's reading his lyrics.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Oh yeah.
If you are listening to an actor, it's completely different.
Yeah. Oh, I've always loved poetry in America. I got started with the Beatniks. And back in the '50s, Beatnik poetry and then there were lots of spoken word records, Dylan Thomas reading Under Milkwood and E.E. Cummings. And then I heard poetry and jazz. I heard Kenneth Patchen reading with the Chamber Jazz Sextet, and he did Oh Lonesome Boy Blues. I'm in Chicago and it's wintertime, and I'm hearing from California this cool jazz and this guy reading poetry in a deep voice. And I thought, wow.
I think that Kenneth Patchen has never been translated here in Italy. It's a shame, because you can only find the original books if you can find them.
That's too bad. Yeah, well.
So what do you think about the criticism about American prayer? Because when the record came out, someone said that was not so good to take the lyrics and the poems of Jim Morrison and to put the music.
Yeah, that's kind of silly. I mean, why would they say that,
I don't know why. Because
I don't either. That's not so good.
If you don't do this,
who should do it, I always thought, wait a minute, the Doors, aren't the Doors Jim, John, Ray, and Robbie? Well, who made the album? Jim, John, Ray, and Robbie. Just Jim wasn't there. His words were there, but he wasn't there. And it's like, that's like, I don't understand it. Would you rather... See, Jim went into the recording studio and recorded the poetry on December 8th, 1970, his last birthday, before he died. And he intended to make a poetry album with sounds and with music, and like Babylon Fading has, he says, and then the carnival begins, gradually mixing rain, thunder, bullfight, football. He wanted to hear those sounds all going together. Babylon Fading. So, we did it for him. He wasn't there. If Jim were alive today and heard an American prayer, he would say, you know what, that's better than what I wanted to do. I know that. Because we work better as all four of us than any one individual. Jim Morrison by himself, wonderful. But Jim Morrison in the Doors, that's something else entirely.
Yeah, sure. This is true, because you were a great band.
Great. I thought so, man. I love that band. I listen to the Doors music. I listen to Doors records every once in a while. I think they're fabulous.
And the most incredible thing is, if you listen to your first album now, it comes from 1967. If you listen to it now, it's incredible, because it seems you made it yesterday.
Doesn't it? Yeah. Don't ask me how we did that. Who knows? That just has to do with the energy and being psychedelic and working with Paul Rothschild and Bruce Spotnick as the producer and engineer. They were very good. So the songs were good. So all six of us together in the recording studio. It was like when we were in the recording studio, there were 6 doors, 4 musicians and 2 technicians.
But I think you had a very strong idea to make simple things, very simple things, and the blues and the rhythm patterns.
Mm-hmm. Clean.
Yeah.
Real clean.
And the strange sound of your keyboard.
Yeah, well, that's me, a strange guy,
I'm just asking about why.
I can't tell you why.
How?
You know, who knows how? That's the Slavic. You know, that's the Polish Ray Manzarek. You know, who knows? I don't know why. You know, that's 2,000, 3,000 years of Slavic, Polish,
Inside your
Russian.
head.
And, yeah, you know, that kind of sadness and melancholy, and yet the passion. So you know, that's my ancestors. Blame it on them. You know, blame my genetic.
Without a bass player.
And without a bass player, sure. Well, you know, we tried a bass player. We auditioned at the beginning when we first got started. We auditioned 2 bass players, and it was all cluttered. It was like the sound was just cluttered. There was too much going on, and we sort of sounded like the Rolling Stones. And I said, well, we don't need to sound like the Rolling Stones. And fuck it, man, let's not use a bass player. It's just opens it up. Let's open it up a little bit more. And then I found that keyboard bass, the Fender Rhodes piano bass, and I could be just very simple with that. Like Light My Fire, did the same, the solo over and over. That's all, just very simple. But the right hand is weaving filigrees and Robbie's guitar, but it keeps a real simple kind of thing, hypnotic, so that simplicity becomes hypnotic, and that's the Doors sound.
And it's very strange to see the old images in a huge stadium with people everywhere, and you with your keyboard, and people coming on the stage.
Right,
It's incredible.
right,
It's
right.
incredible.
Charging and jamming
Because
and
the
rioting.
PA system was a small PA system at this time.
Yeah. Well, it was loud as you know. It was as loud as what people were used to in those days. You know, the people see we've gone a little more deaf, so sound systems have gotten bigger and bigger as we've lost a little bit of hearing. So,
This is the reason why for you, because the people is becoming deaf.
yeah.
So, what do you, how much is important? I guess it's important. Your role on controlling the music of the Doors, because you know, if you don't control the music, the musical industry could put all the records and
Yeah. Oh, sure. No.
compilations and
yeah. Well, fortunately, that was in our first contract. We said no compilations. We control the releases, and the record company said, "Okay, you know, fine. That's fine with us. We don't know that you guys will ever have a compilation record anyway, or something." So, fortunately, that was in our initial contract, and yeah, the Doors are in charge of the Doors. The record company is wonderful. Elektra's been very, very good. I have no complaints about them at all. So,
it's changed in the years.
oh yeah, lots of different people have come and gone,
I
but
think
because
at the times of Jack Holtzman,
well, it's no, yeah.
maybe it was different.
Well, don't put that in the article. Yeah, well, that was a different. It was all different then. It was the '60s, you know. There was artists.
I think
poets.
that the music business in the 60s, I think to, I don't know, John Hammond, Jack Holtzman,
Yeah.
there was a completely different situation in the States,
Yeah.
in the musical business.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? The people who were in charge of the Ahmet Ertegun, and
Yeah.
Atlantic,
Right,
Neshawi
yeah.
Ertegun, putting out all the Ray Charles and all that black blues and good stuff they put out. They were businessmen, but they
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
soul of a poet. They had the soul of the artist, and what they wanted to do was find something that was unique and artistic, and then take that, put that on record, and sell the records, and get the records out there so that they would make money, and then they could give money to the artists, you know, and that's what you need, you know.
They were good because they are selling records, death records.
Still
No.
selling today. So
Yeah.
they were good. Yeah, they picked the right people, didn't they? Yeah.
And what do you think about the new bands? Because you know, the Doors are a so-called seminal band,
Yeah.
and it's true for me
Yeah.
because they are great. What do you think about the new bands who are trying to make something very similar?
Well, I think there's some good stuff going on. You know, I like Pearl Jam. I think is very good. Eddie Vedder is very much like Jim Morrison. When he sings, boy, that Eddie Vedder has got a touch of the shaman in him.
And he's got a problem with his father, you know, in
I
the
didn't know
lyrics
that.
of the songs.
Yeah. See that?
If you read the lyrics,
Oh, that's interesting, because I've never read his lyrics. I just listen to him sing, and I love his voice, and, you know, what I pick up of the lyrics I like. So that's interesting. See?
They
So
are very,
Eddie-
very simple, not so beautiful
Well,
like the Jim Morrison's
yeah,
lyrics.
you know, but nonetheless.
But it's talking about his father,
Yeah.
and the young people can understand
Yeah.
his words.
Boy, kids have trouble with their fathers today. My goodness. Well, and so did Jim. But and Nirvana, you know, I like
Yeah.
Nirvana and poor Kurt Cobain. Talk about somebody who's like Jim Morrison. My God, they're both dead. You know, tragic, sensitive young men who died far too early. And REM is very good. And then back a few years, I liked The Cure. I thought sounded very much had a similar to the Doors kind of thing, and Echo and the Bunnymen.
Ah, yeah, Ian McCulloch.
And then for the punk rockers, well, I produced the album, 4 albums with the group X. So I thought,
I
X
know.
was, you know,
It was a great band.
oh man,
California.
Billy Zoom and
No,
Don
yesterday I
Lundberg and-
saw the new Steve Wynn band.
Oh
Do you know the Syndicate?
no, ah,
It was a guitar ball,
yeah.
super group of music of the 80s.
Oh, cool. All right. And so, you know, and today's music, the absolute cutting edge today, I think I like much more popular here in Europe than in the States, but it may be coming. I like ambient music, I think, best of all. I think that electronic manipulations are very interesting, very unusual things. And techno, you know, just, you know, I like that techno stuff too.
Yeah, if you have fantasy and ideas, you can work on this.
Yeah. Yeah,
on this part.
yeah. Actually, my son and I might, I don't know, we were talking, I was just up in Hamburg and talking to the WIA, and they gave me some records. Said, why don't you come over and make a techno album with some of our techno producers? And I thought, you know, I might just do that. My son is 21, Pablo, and I thought, yeah, and he's into ambient music. I thought, maybe we'll go do some sort of ambient techno album in Germany in the next year or so. That could be fun.
Are you working at a new project?
Well, I play with Michael McClure, Jim
You did
Morrison's.
an album.
Yeah, on Love Lion, Lion, on Shawnee, and that's Michael and I do that every once in a while. We go out and play some clubs, coffee houses.
He's out now in the
universities.
States.
Yes. And it's I play the piano and he reads his poetry. So it's a very simple, basic version of like an American prayer. You know? But I play the poetry. I play everything I can play. Sometimes I play some Bill Evans and Debussy, and sometimes rock and roll, and sometimes Balinese gamelan kind of stuff, some American Indian things, and whatever the poem calls for, I play. And we're going back into the studio in July, I think, and we're going to do a second album, and that album is going to be called Haikus, Japanese Poems, Haikus and Peyote Poems, P-E-Y-O-T-E.
Yeah, I know peyote.
Okay, so that's what the album is going to be called, Haikus and Peyote Poems, Michael McClure, Ray Manzarek. And then, you know, there's a techno thing, the Bamboo Jungle.
The Bamboo Jungle.
Yeah.
You get the title.
Yeah. I got a bunch of songs, and, you know, it might just work, man. It might just work. We might do it.
Yeah,
So-
because, you know, it's important to know something about your music, not only the Doors music.
Oh, good. Do you know Carmina Burana?
Yeah.
The record I did,
Yeah.
Carmina Burana, with
Yeah.
Philip Glass, Carl Orff, cantata. Good. And then I did, way back, just came out on CD about a year and a half ago, The Golden Scarab. The Golden Scarab is a song cycle about cosmic consciousness with, so I think it's on Polygram. So if you haven't heard that, ask Polygram. Say, hey, Polygram, give me Ray Manzarek, The Golden Scarab, like Egyptian scarab. Tony Williams from Miles Davis Band plays
the
drums.
drummer,
Larry Carlton, the jazz guitarist, is on the record, and Jerry Sheff, who played on L.A. Woman and played with Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay,
He was the
well,
bass
Jerry,
player
yeah,
of Elvis.
yeah. So that one's also available on CD.
So next time you'll come to promote your albums.
Boy, you know what I would like? I would like to come and play a techno album here in Rome. That's what I would like
It would
to do.
be great.
Oh boy, a tour, tour of Europe. Ray Manzarek and Pablo. Ray and Pablo Manzarek. Or Manzarek, RP.
He's playing keyboards, your song.
No, he's percussion.
Uh-huh.
It would work out perfect. You know?
Perfect.
We need a roll.
See, okay, thank you.
Very
I
good.
just want you to sign my right.
Absolutely. Of course.